Makeup.
Mommy don't know you're dancing, huh? Mommy don't know you're dancing.
I saw that fake picture they had cycling around the internet. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Name of Allah, the Messenger, the merciful, bear witness there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is the messenger. I'd like to greet the family and those viewing in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank you for coming to this month's military money mind training class. And honestly, it's a blessing. And I take it, in all honesty, humbly, because it's your time. And you taking some of your time out of your day to come here just to hear, what I have to share. So just a few housekeeping points. Just want to make sure that those that's here, signed in. And we want to make sure that we put all our little devices on vibrate or silent. And if you're one of those super important people that always have to take calls and because you're missing something, we ask that you, sit in the rear so you can just exit on out the door. But this scenario, the door's in the front, so we just may have to ask you to sit in the back so you won't be a nuisance. And at the same time, have fun. Have fun. There's going to be some good information shared. So have fun with it. Take notes. And the biggest thing, there's one thing to come to a class to get information, but if you don't take notes and then take action on those notes, it's almost like you didn't come. You just came for a good feel-good session. I'd rather you not even be here versus taking action on one thing that you might have learned. So with that being said, y'all might ask the question, well, who am I and why am I here? So this is me and Nicole, and this picture was taken in early 2000. We got married November 26, 1999, and this picture was taken in early 2000. And believe it or not, when you see some other pictures, you won't see much difference, and that's really a blessing. So we had our first child, and when she was born, a brother gave us a box. It was a little dress inside of the box, and I held the dress up, and it was cute, it was nice, and I was grateful for it, and I told my wife I love it. And when I looked underneath that box, this is what was there. That book was there, and when I opened up that book took me to a whole new level as it relates to money. I always had a basic idea of using the bank book ledger. For those that remember those, kind of dating myself a little bit, but bank book ledgers, I used to use that pretty well. But when I read that book right there, that did it for me, and that put me on a whole nother page as it relates to money. So that started me into seriously reading it, and once I started reading that, I shared some of it with my wife, and we decided to share it with the whole family. So that's the whole crew right now. For those that don't know, I got 4 little ones, and the desire is to make sure they understand this information as soon as possible, so they don't have to go through the same trials and tribulations that either you did or I did, as it relates to our finances. So with that being said, I hope we're ready, and we're gonna listen to a clip from the minister real quick.
Jesus and Muhammad is to be a master of Socrates, Plato, Galileo, Hegel, Freud, Jung. To be a student of Jesus is to be a master of this world. Just to be but you gotta be a good student. You can't just be sitting in the class. A lot of you just go to school to take up space. Come to the mosque to sit down and be entertained with knowledge. That ain't no good student. Because I'm going to get credit from God for teaching you. The question is, what credit will you get when God asks you, how did you respond to what you heard? You say, well, I heard it. It was great. I really liked it. You should have seen how many times I jumped up and applauded. God, I jumped up 65 times. tore my hair till my hands was red. Went out there feeling so good, and I went back to my room, and there was a mouse on the table. I kicked the mouse out, and I ate the cheese. And I can't wait to go back to the mosque again, so I can come back to that little dirty, nasty room I'm living in. Well, hell, if you're in Islam and all you got is a little dirty, funky room to live in, you just sitting there taking up space. You need to go on somewhere or get busy and do something with what you've been taught. Sitting around here with nothing in your pocket and claim to be with Elijah? Hell no.
Now, in that quick, that's 2 minutes and 11-second clip of the minister from a tape titled Belief in Allah. And that tape, Belief in Allah, is one that I've used many times over anytime I need to make a major financial decision, because it's your belief in God that's going to give you, it's going to test your faith. And this has always been a reminder, but my question to you is, what's the minister saying? What's the minister saying? And I have some that might be viewing in the viewing audience, so you really can't answer that question. I have somebody and a couple of brothers here that can at least give their take on it. So, brother, what do you think the minister's saying as relates to that? What you heard?
In regards to what he was saying, I personally believe that he was saying that a lot of us get information that sounds good. We agree to the fact that the information is true and can be helpful. However, the information won't necessarily do us any justice or do us well if we decide to just sit on the information as opposed to moving on it and seeing the results or the benefits that Allah had prepared for us by getting up and working, as opposed to just screaming and bearing witness verbally.
Right. That was a big, huge point for me too. And even for those that may be listening or those that are present, I mean, at the very beginning, he mentioned to be a student of Jesus is to be a master of this world. That, in this context, that includes our money. Because if we're not trying to master the money game, we're wasting our time, because any money that we get is going to end up going. If I asked anybody that's in this room, or anybody that's viewing, out of all the jobs you had since you were legally able to work, all of us probably have made 6 figures or more. Wow. If we add up the income, gross or net, don't make a difference. So why don't we have anything to show for it? That becomes a real question. So that is huge. You can watch that on YouTube. Just pull it up. It's about 12 parts. Indeed, you're going to enjoy yourself. And this is something when I did my first class 1.5 years ago here, a brother showed me a tweet that somebody tweeted the minister, and he showed me the response. And I decided about 2 classes ago to go ahead and put the response in. I don't know why I waited so long, but I did. And this was, the question was to the minister, do you think that as people sign up for the economic blueprint, that every time they give a donation, that you all hand out to them some type of brochure that teaches financial literacy? I thought that's an awesome question. What's more awesome is his answer. He said it would be a great thing to teach our people financial literacy. But remember, if thousands and tens of thousands give, and it will take thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to have a booklet on financial literacy, be wonderful scholars and teachers of financial literacy, and by the grace of God, as we start picking up steam, these are persons that are absolutely necessary in helping our people to see the value of saving and investing and spending wisely. We would do that when we are strong enough to do that. And at the very bottom, it looks like maybe November, looks like the date, but it was cut off from when the brother sent it to me. But I thought that was awesome. At the same time, it was confirmation for me. Me sharing this information at this time is right on time by God's grace. So anyway, as we move forward, these are the topics that we're going to be covering now that we together. We're going to talk about money preparation and consciousness. We're going to talk about the 3 types of education. We're going to talk about the 3 types of income. We're going to talk about the cash flow quadrant. And we're going to talk about financial statements, FICO, and cash flow patterns. So we're going to discuss those things briefly. And again, this is to give you a foundation I'm not going to go into stocks, bonds, mutual funds. That's a sidebar conversation. But this is just to lay up as far as our financial education so we can take this information, act on it ourselves for the future. So I've been asked multiple times, why Military Money Mind as a title for a class? And I've never really dug into it. So about 2 classes ago, I decided to go ahead and just give an explanation, which is real brief. And when we're talking about military, why use the word military? Quick definition of or pertaining to war. So now you got Military Money Mind. Now we're talking about a war. But what is a war? So let's look at that. A war is a struggle to achieve a goal or an aggressive business conflict. Now, I know we've been talking those that follow on the Lewis Farrakhan, and even if you don't, in business, if you choose to make a big, huge corporation, business that's it. And if you watch these huge conglomerates that's on C-SPAN or Bloomberg Business, you watch Squawk Box early in the morning, you hear them discuss business strategies on what they're going to do. And these are huge business moves that takes a lot of money. So it's good to watch those shows just to get educated on language and just listen to the dialogue as it relates to money. We talk about it in the street, but it's not the same kind of language because we're not talking about the same types of money. So we're talking about war. So why the title? We start dealing with on the mind, on our own personal mindset as it relates to money. And that's huge. So a couple of quotes I want us to think about, a couple of things as we move forward into this. Because when it comes to money, 80% of it is psychology. That's the biggest part. 20% of it is skill or tactic or ability. So we think about it in those terms. A lot of times we want to just hurry up and get the money. Wrong answer. A lot of winners get it and gone, and we already understand those stories. But don't learn from knowledge. Learn, take action, and move it at speed construction. As soon as you get something, as soon as you find something that you can use, move on it. Become momentum. That builds momentum. And once you got momentum, it's almost like a good song. Once it starts going up the scale on the chart, you want to start hurrying up producing another one because you want that wave. Same thing here. You learn something in this class that you can take action on, grab hold of it and move on it. I don't care if you don't have a bank account. I start talking about opening up one. You can open up one online in less than about 15 minutes. Take some action. Do something. Also, knowledge is observation of a knowing is the inward experience of that fact. Now, I can talk about football, and I got a knowledge of the game. But now you pull a Ray Lewis or somebody else, they have a knowing of the game because they have inward experience. I can talk about music. I don't know it to that degree, but you got people that are in, they have an inward working experience. It's a two total different levels as relates to understanding. And it's the same way with this money game. You got people who can talk about money, talk about business, but they don't have an inward working experience of that. So this was an interesting quote that I'm gonna share that I thought timely because it really hit me in the gut and it hit other people in the gut when they saw it. And look at what it says. It says the rich, to me that was the key word, that's why I made it capital. Constantly learn and grow. Now, here's the gut punch right here. For most of us as well as here present, and already know. The rich constantly learn and grow, and the poor think they already know. That's something. For you to think you already know something that you have no inward knowledge of. So that relates to money too. Now, this last quote, and we moving on, by God's grace, it came to me and I thought it was fitting. So it says your financial preparation becomes your financial situation. Excuse me. And any of us that played any kind of sports, we didn't play from game to game. We played a game, and what do we do in the middle between games? What ended up happening? After you played one game, you didn't wait till the next week to play the next game. What happened in between?
Yeah, practice.
Exactly. Why don't we prepare to have money? If I asked everybody here, everybody that's watching, do you want a lot of money or do you desire to be a millionaire? Everybody would say what?
Yeah.
Yes. But are we preparing for it? My sister said no, and we're not. We're not prepared for it. I don't know why that is, because the desire really isn't strong. It's good conversation, as brother said earlier. It's good conversation to talk about it, but to make the decision and then institute some discipline to make it happen is a whole nother ballgame. So your financial preparation becomes your financial situation. So if we looked at all of our bank accounts and in our pockets right now, that's a result of all of our financial preparation. We got what we got because that's what we're prepared to have. Does that make sense? We prepared, I'm gonna say it's kind of crazy, we prepared to be broke. So that's what we got. So exactly. So we can't be upset because we don't have, we didn't. You go to marriage counseling before you get married. You go see someone, y'all go see the pastor, talk about being married because of what's going to come. We should do the same thing as relates to money. It's all about preparation. Now I'm gonna go through a couple of slides and they go on a few of the books that I can suggest, and there's a few here, but this is all about financial preparation. It's all about preparing so you will have later on. So you can begin the process now. You don't want to wait till it's too late. But it's really never too late because it's better to late than never, as they say. So once again, as for your financial preparation becomes your financial situation. Always remember that. Make that a little personal quote, if you will. As we move forward, we get ready to see another quick video.
Is the economy getting better or worse?
Well, financial education can be the best of times.
Because today's market is packed with opportunity if you know what you're doing.
Money doesn't make you rich. Knowledge makes you rich.
So to the rich, it doesn't really make a difference what the economy is doing. Does that make sense? They don't care.
Wow.
Because they have the knowledge to work in it when it's not so well or good or whether it's bad. They don't really care. They just keep on moving. And in most cases, the elite, those ultra rich, they help create the economy situation. So they know what they're doing anyway. But it's better for us to understand the game. So when they decide to change it up, we're not affected. We can benefit either way. That makes sense? So we were talking about money consciousness. Now, if I was to ask you all, and those that's viewing, if I was to ask you all, what's the current money consciousness among the masses of the people, what would you guys say? What would you say? Good, bad, terrible? I mean, halfway?
I would say the majority.
Majority what?
Are illiterate.
Illiterate?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, what about this question? Read that question for me.
Why are lotto winners or siblings that inherit a lot of money broke in 3 to 5 years?
Why do we think that is?
They don't have financial knowledge.
Don't have financial knowledge. But we beg for a lot of money. That's the part that's really amazing. We really want that money. But then at the same time, as soon as we get it, it's gone 3 to 5 years. It's a wrap. Now, here's the question. Here's the huge question. And now this is a personal one, because from here on, it's all gut punches. I'm going to be talking to you personally.
Gotcha.
So what's your current state of money consciousness? That becomes the real question. For those that's here and those that's viewing online, what's your current state of money consciousness? You got to ask yourself that. And the beauty, you're viewing it or you're here live, you're making a decision. You're making a decision. I want my current state of money consciousness. You want it to change. You want to take a step in changing that, which is a beautiful thing, because today should be the last day of your understanding of money the way it was. And that's okay. You drawing a line in the sand for yourself and for your family and for those that know you, because your language should start to change. time amongst those that don't really want money, that time should start to decrease amongst them. And you should be wanting to get in different circles of those who reading what you should be reading or already read, doing things that you want to do financially to move you and your family forward. Things. Now, let's look at this one. If we look at your personal financials, what would that tell us about your money consciousness? Accounts, bank statements, or I would say financial statements, but most of our people, most of us, quote unquote, middle class, the poor, don't have financial statements, so we'll be looking at bank accounts, and a certain percentage of those don't have bank accounts, so we just be going on what you tell me. But if you don't have any financials, then you're really not in the money game at all. You have no clue. But if we looked at one another, granted some of us got bank statements, what would it tell us without you having to say a word? They say a picture is worth what? 1,000 words. And if you're looking at a bank statement, that shows painting a picture about you, whether it's good, bad, different. It's painting a picture about how you see that money. Now, since we're talking about the mind, let's discuss that. Since we're talking about consciousness, let's talk about that mind piece for a minute. That's in my title of the class, Military Money Mind. Let's look at that. Most, if not all, understand that the brain thinks in pictures. Now, if we don't know that, now you do. If you've never heard of it, think about it like this. If I said car, are you going to try to picture a car? Is that what your brain and your mind does automatically? Or do you picture the letters? You don't think about the letters. You create a picture of a car in your mind. But honestly, scientifically, your brain thinks in pictures. That's how the mind works. That's how it works, in pictures. That's why you hear in the scripture where there's no vision, the people what? Perish. So there's in the mind. If you don't have one and you leading people, you're really leading them nowhere.
Wow.
And a lot of people think they're in leadership when they got a vision, but they really don't. So they say a man that's out front and has no one behind him is not a leader. He's just merely taking a walk. So now, with that, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Look at this. When I say mind, what picture comes into your head?
Brain.
Brain. And if you ask the masses, that's what's going to come into the mind, the brain. But look at what John Blues Farrakhan said as relates to that. Somebody read that real quick.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, mind is not brain and brain is not mind. Brain is the source of mind. Study Guide 19, page 40.
Think about that. So we can't even put the brain up there anymore because it's not the mind. So something has to come into your mind when you think about the mind, because it's not the brain. We just didn't explain that in that simple quote, but it's really deep if you want to delve into that. But I know you think, there, we supposed to be talking about money. Well, we are. Because money and wealth is 80% psychology. Psychology is short for psyche. We're talking about work. And if it don't work right as relates to money, when you get it, you won't keep it. So why have it? If you got a bad history with money and you go to somebody with your history with money and you ask them for a loan, do you think you're going to get it? No. You got a history. Your psyche's jacked. Same with relationships. Doesn't make a difference. But look at this. In 2006, I was introduced to a picture. I was on a conference call. And anytime I'm on any kind of conference call, then I take all of them personal. So whatever they sharing, I think it's just me and that person on the phone. That's just me personally. So when he shared this on the call, I took it and ran with it. But I'm going to give you the basics of what he gave, but it goes a whole lot deeper. But he gave us a picture of him. Here it is. It looked like a little cartoon character, don't it? But that's fine. Simplicity is easy to work with. Now, check it out. The top part, which looks like most of us, big heads and little bodies, that's the head. That's our body. And then from the body, we produce results. So I want us to remember this picture right here. Use this as I explain it. You can use this picture for every portion of your life. I don't care if it's money. I don't care if it's marriage, don't make a difference. You're gonna be able to use this little picture in every aspect of your life. So that's the head, the body, and that produces your results. Now, above, the top part of the head, above that line, we're gonna say that that's your conscious mind. And obviously, the conscious mind, that's where all the book learning goes. You go to school, you do all your memorizing, you memorize everything. Now, how long you keep it, just long enough for test time. After the test is over and you done passed, and you tell everybody you got your A, we ask you about that same information a week later, and you probably not gonna know. Now, underneath this S below that line, now we start talking about subconscious. That's where we begin to learn about the human being, people in general, because there is where our paradigms rely or lie at. And a paradigm is just a multitude of habits. So any of our habits, they say it takes what, 21 to 30 days to make or break a habit.
Right.
So and a collective group of habits is a paradigm. And we heard the men want to change the educational paradigm, how we think about education as a whole, not just one particular part about it. So all our paradigms sit there. This, you got a paradigm about money. If somebody gave you $1,000 right now, you wouldn't think first, this paradigm is gonna kick in. So your habit on what you do with money, that's the first thing gonna come to mind. That's the first thing.
Wow.
Anything you do in life, when it's time for a decision to be made, is coming here first. That thought's gonna go straight to your subconscious to see if there's something there that resonates with it already. And if it does, that's gonna be your first response. Now, whether you catch it consciously to make a different decision is a whole nother ballgame. But it's the same thing with money. As soon as somebody gives you some money, I'm going to buy a suit. Because you got a paradigm that says, as soon as I get some money, I'm going to buy me some shoes, I'm going to buy me a suit, I'm going to buy me a dress, whatever it is. Nothing about as soon as I get some money, I'm going to take 10%, I'm going to give it to charity, I'm going to take 10 and put it in this account, take 10, put it in another account. That's not here in most of our cases. That's not there. What's there is spend. I taught my 5-year-old son, he was 5 at the time, he's 7 now. You can do two things with money. You can spend it or invest it. The paradigm of the masses is to spend it. If somebody was with you that had a different paradigm, they may say, do you want to spend that right now or you want to invest it? Your spend paradigm is going to be fighting you. I want this suit. Brothers is going out, the sisters going to an event. I want to get that. I want to get that. But you start thinking about it up here, knowing good and well a conscious decision, because now you can put some of the books you done read. I know I should be saving some of that. I know I should be investing some of that. Now you got a fight going on. And it's an internal battle on, I don't care if it's marriage, same thing. But so that's what we're going to say. But you can use this. Every thought, throw a little science out there. Every thought is energy. That makes sense.
Yes.
That's a true statement. Every thought is, well, everything is energy, but thought is the most powerful of the energy because it's a direct focus. It's almost like putting that magnifying glass. Same heat's out there, but as soon as you put a magnifying glass between you and between it and what you want to magnify it on, right? But you got to move it and tweak it. That happens here. So this energy sits here. As soon as that thought comes in, it finds something it resonates with, and that's what's going to put this body in motion, and you're going to get your results.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is huge. Now, you can't break a paradigm or a habit. What you got to do is create a new one. Create a new one to take the place of the old one, and the old one loses the energy that it contains. So the energy is released. It has no effect because the new one in its place. Now that one now is the new guy in charge. But the thing to get that new one there is a word called discipline, which you guys are learning information now. But now that's required to take that information and implant it to where that becomes the new guy. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is one of two ways. Spaced repetition, which means you're going to do it over and over again, just like professional sports. No boxer is going to box one fight, put the gloves down. He's just in the gym because he's trying to master. Spaced repetition or some kind of impact that's almost cataclysmic. You can get in a car accident, something tragic happens, or something drastic, that's good habits. You hit a lot of that. So one of those two ways is gonna cause something to stick here. You can be in a real bad relationship. You always gonna remember because something's gonna paradigm or a habit that's inside right here for that you're always gonna remember and end up going through. So let's move forward. This book is called, I think I hit, there we go. No, I hit that one too many times. If we haven't read this book, it can't make you read it, but I know it's beneficial for me. No Excuses. The Power of Self-Discipline by a gentleman named Brian Tracy. Now, in this chapter titled Self-Discipline and Money, can somebody read this for me?
The starting point of achieving financial independence is to discipline yourself to rewire your attitude.
Now that's his quote. That's a quote out of his book. Nothing I wrote, but that's his quote. The starting point. Give me one word that means starting point. Beginning. Now we're talking about financial independence, which all of us want. So the beginning is not to go and get money. The beginning is not to go play lotto. The beginning is to do what, somebody?
Discipline.
Discipline yourself to do what?
Rewire your attitude toward money.
That's the name of the game right there. Now, for those of us that's viewing, those in the nation, we know we got study guides that's supposed to rewire our attitudes. That's a punch in the gut, but but to discipline ourselves. Quick definition for discipline is to give your following. Give yourself a command and follow. Can you do that? You can, but will you is the real question. You on a train, you know you got to get up and go run. You got to go to the gym. You got to do this. Eat 1 meal a day. Whatever you're trying to do or acquire in life, it's going to take discipline. The only person that can do it is you. Regardless of what anybody says in front of you, you can have the best teacher on the planet. He's not going to do your push-ups for you. He's going to give you the information, teach you right, the best he or she can, you to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and implement that. And if you don't, it's not the teacher's fault. On the clip I showed, the minister said he's going to get credit for teaching you. But the question is, how will you respond? I've introduced the same question. It's going to gratify me to share this information with you and those that is viewing. But the question is, are you going to implement it to make your financial situation better than what it is currently? That's on you. I can't do nothing about that. All I can do is share it. And I feel good that I'm doing it. I'm doing my part. So, 3 types of education. 1 is academic, 2 is professional, and 3 is financial. That's it in the world as far as education. Quick video.